Hello everyone, Bertina Amy here, and welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I thought I would do a Dollar Tree and Thrifted DIY unique pumpkin centerpiece. So in today's video, I would like to work on this as my project. I found this at Goodwill, as you can see, for $3.99, which I thought was a pretty good price considering how large this is. I don't have the largest of hands, but this is pretty large, and I thought this would make a gorgeous centerpiece. I don't even care that this is kind of bent a little bit. I'm going to try and see if I can fix that, but honestly, I'm not too worried about it. I was thinking about putting a fake light anyway, like an LED light type of thing, rather than like a fake tea light, rather than a real candle, because I don't want stuff getting stuck to this and then having to scrape it all off. So I kind of want this nice and neat. I'm also gonna have to scrape this off camera as well, and I will be right back when that is all done. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I don't have any glue gone. That would have been my next step, but I'm honestly not worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and take this ribbon completely off the spool. So here's my ribbon folded in half both ways, and I'm just going to pick a section, say like here, and I'm going to just start wrapping. In fact, I think I'm going to do, because I want to go and use the new ribbon wrapping method, and now I'm going to go, I think how you start it doesn't totally matter. I'm just trying to, I think the word I'm looking for is I'm just trying to lock it into place. So maybe if I do it like maybe this, and maybe I squeeze it up like this, that way it's not obvious. And then I can do under and under. So if I do, say I do this way, and that's, maybe I go under and over instead, because I want the alternating pattern like in my wreath video. Okay, so if that's the case, then it's gonna go, let's see if I want right over left. So right, and then this one is gonna go under, and we're gonna adjust things as we go. And I realize it's gonna probably be difficult to try to get this exact styling of a pumpkin, but you can apply the same concepts to their miniature pumpkins that they always sell every year. Okay. And then I'm gonna adjust and adjust. Okay, so then we're going right over left, and this one's gonna, even though it's going over the left, we're just gonna pull it under the bar. And because it's curving, that does kind of change the appearance of the ribbon as it goes. But I'm not mad about that. I think it's pretty still. So, all right, right over left. Over and under. And I'm going to keep going until I reach near the bottom, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here we are near the end, and I'm just going to tuck this around on itself, and then I'm going to fold. This is kind of hard to do while trying to film, but I'm going to fold this down like so, and then add hot glue. Unfortunately, messier than I'd like it to be, but... And yeah, I'm okay with that. It's a little bit... It starts to kind of loosen up, unfortunately, but... I'm not looking for perfection anyway. I'm just hoping this idea inspires you to kind of create your own variation of it in some way. All right, so I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to repeat the process on 3 more panels. This section, and this section, and I'll be back. So since this took basically the entire roll, I am going to need 3 more rolls, but I'll go ahead and wrap them up, and then I'll be back when those are done. Okay, so here's what I have so far with all 4 sections attached. And I just repeated the folding and gluing down towards the bottom. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I do want to show that there is, of course, a bar here that we could wrap. I'm debating about whether or not I'm going to do that. I think this is optional, so if you have or find something like this, totally up to you. You could spray paint it in advance. Maybe you want to spray paint it gold to kind of match the edging. I don't want to deal with spray paint, so I'm just going to leave that. And then I do want to wrap this though. Okay, so I want this piece to match the wreath I posted recently, so I'm going to use some of this that I have remaining. I didn't end up using all of it. There's like 2 more of the same length, and there's more than enough for this stem. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half. So here's my ribbon folded in half both ways, and I know I'm not going to be able to do this ribbon wrapping method, but I do want to make sure that this piece is going to be very secure. So what I was thinking of doing is just turning it this way, and I'm going to cross, let's see, I'm going to cross over like this and go through like that. And then I'm just going to wrap this going towards the end. I'm not doing anything. I can't really do the fancy ribbon wrapping method, unfortunately. So, you know what? We're just going to use... Okay, I'm not too crazy about the look of this in this way. Of course, even though I folded it in half both ways, it doesn't want to stay in the position that I had it in. It just keeps moving. Maybe I just do it like... I think I should just use this other piece. Kind of just like that, I think. Let's adjust this. I still want the gold edging to be visible. There we go. And then I can glue it to the underside. And then this, I can attach it to itself. But I still gotta keep adjusting this, which is really probably the biggest annoyance of doing, or of using Dollar Tree materials, but I still really like this ribbon. So maybe I can just... So go ahead and play around with this, both on and off camera. Okay, so I decided to just leave it like this and lean into the fact that, like, make it look like the ribbon is kind of unraveling in a way. And it's not perfect, but no craft ever is, but I think it looks intentional at least, and that's kind of the look I'm going for. I hope that makes sense. So I think I'm okay with that. And then I do have excess at the other end here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to trim off some of it. And I'm not going to throw the excess out. I'm just going to, I'll show you what I'll do with it later, but I'm just going to, I don't know if you could see that. This is so awkward. But I'm going to just fold that and then add hot glue and then hold it down for a minute. Okay, there we go. I think you could see that, hopefully. It's a little dark, but I'm just going to push that in. For this little piece, I'm actually going to go ahead and glue it around this bar, just so that the only thing that is black is where the candle goes. So let's see here. I don't need this much. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it like this so it has a nice folded edge, and repeat that on the other side. And then I'm going to add hot glue. We're almost done with this project. And bring it down here and just kind of have that get glued on. And then to seal it, just going to add hot glue down in here. I know you really can't see that. Sorry about that. And then I'm just going to push it down. But I would call this mostly done. I was thinking of embellishing it further with maybe some florals towards the bottom or even on the top or both. So I'm going to take some time to think about that and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm looking through my stash from last year and I still have 4 of these burlap leaves. I'm debating about using them, and if I do use them, I was thinking about using them to cover up the mess up top here. Maybe like this. These leaves are gigantic, but maybe put another one on the other side. This is totally optional, of course. It doesn't even have to be done at all. But then it brings elements of like sort of like florals. I think I'll do a final shot with and without. And then another thing I was thinking about doing, kind of like a reminder of last year's wreath form, I'm thinking about incorporating this as though it's growing out of the stem and just kind of sticking it within the ribbon. But this is way too long, so I'm going to cut this down. Maybe around here. There we go. So then like that. And then the rest of this is still loosely on there, so I could stick this. The only part that's attached or glued is just that section right there, so I could even do that. Probably should add a dab of hot glue every so often, so if I do maybe like there, stem in like so, and then I can glue, that way the part that had some kind of sticky sticker or whatever gets covered up too. Okay, and then I'm gonna have to undo the hot glue from earlier. Don't hot glue it down if you haven't finalized things yet like I did. I thought that's all I was gonna do, but it'll be fine because I'm gonna cover it up anyway. And then like that. And then this is where it's gonna meet again. So I'm gonna do dab there. And then And then what I'm gonna do is, actually I don't think I need to. It's pretty secure. I'm not gonna tug on that, but these are gonna be like separate things kind of coming out of the stem. I hope that makes sense. I don't think you could see that. I'm sorry. I just realized that, but there it is. So, all right, I think that'll work. And then I have 3 more, and I was thinking about placing these at the bottom, and then I can get a tea light to put around this as well. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do shots with and without the burlap leaves. I'm not sure how I feel about the burlap leaves. I think they do work. If you don't mind, you know, kind of a mix between ideas. So you'll have to let me know if you like it. Would you do it? Or would you do something totally different, get actual florals and things like that? So this is how I'm choosing to embellish mine. I also still have these from last year that I never knew what to do with. I'm thinking they'd be good within here and just kind of like hanging out and about. So as I was going ahead and trying to do the final results shots, I really didn't like the pairing with the green burlap leaves. Let me know what you think in the comments below, but I decided to switch it out instead, and I didn't want it bare. So I did definitely want to embellish it. So I decided to go with these blue leaves that I had on hand from last year's stash. These would actually help bring out the blue from this pumpkin. So I think I'm going to use this instead of the green leaves in the same spots. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these down as I need to, and then just kind of stick them where I want them to. Also, I want to point out, I think the back looks far more realistic than the front. I believe that's supposed to be the front. The back shows the veins. I like that better, so this might be backwards. But I'm going to go ahead and use the back end instead to be displayed. But I think that's going to pair, like, look a lot prettier anyway. See, if you look, this is the front, and then this is the back. And I know it's laying as though that's how it's just not going to want to stay. But I'm going to do the bottom and the top, and then I'll show the final results. Which of these 3 versions do you like best? A, B, or C? I decided on C. As you can see, I went ahead and put in a faux candlelight from, pretty sure, Target in their dollar section. So that's the final result. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.